dialogue, or should I maybe say monologue, from the tech girl, giving some insight into her mindset and into the philosophy of the technicians supporting the heroes their way. Or maybe it's more like the mangaka. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you had a good Christmas time. I want to review this week's chapter of Boku no Hero, My Hero Academia, chapter 339. And also, I want to give my predictions for the next chapter, chapter 340. Before talking about my 3 highlights of the chapter, I want to just go over the chapter quickly in general. So I think it starts off with a nice cover page with the technician girl on the cover, looking a bit sick. We then get the conversation with the tech girl and Deku and Mr. Glass's class representative being continued. I think there's no really outstanding situation, no special panel or anything that stood out. Lots of conversation. Deku gets his new item, his new gauntlets thrown into his face in a slightly comedic way. Same for Ida. He gets his new piece of equipment thrown into his face, also slightly comedic. I think we get a lot of dialogue, or should I maybe say monologue, from the tech girl, giving some insight into her mindset and into the philosophy of the technicians supporting the heroes their way. Or maybe it's more like the mangaka, Horikoshi, giving us some insight into his mindset on what role do minor characters play in the context of helping and contributing to the success of a whole, this kind of succeeding as a group philosophy, which also plays into the dynamic and the importance of class A and also the other class and the other schools and citizens and heroes working together. The chapter continues with the class A students gathering together with Mount Lady to move out, talking about centering around Deku, forming a search party. it switches again, and the scene changes again to other heroes, along with the third year students supporting Fatgum. The scene changes one more time to All Might and Hawks talking about their preparations for the final confrontation. One more time this week, a very mediocre chapter. I think one that drives the plot, one that gave us some insight on the technicians and how they support the heroes. It gave us some insight in a broader sense on this whole philosophy of even minor characters giving their contribution and how everyone is important. Citizens, technicians, minor heroes, bigger heroes, the class, not just Deku, to contribute to the victory of the heroes. The way the story is laid out, I think it's highly to doubt that we see any more training arcs. I think we will transition to more action-oriented scenes for the next chapters. So this is where I'm gonna start with my prediction for the next chapter, chapter 340. So for the next chapter, I do not expect a shift to the villains. I do not expect a time skip. I do not expect more chapters that keep explaining or giving some background information or trying to lay out the tracks for the story to progress on, but rather focusing more on the core of the class, on Class A. Actually moving out and trying to search for the villains, for the League, and for All One. If we get to see actually some action and some fights next chapter, I don't know yet if we get to see like a real big confrontation. That's something that I doubt for the next chapter. So, hard to say. I think the plot is kind of, the pace is kind of accelerating and then decelerating quite a bit. So I think it's really hard to predict how many chapters it'll take till the next big confrontation. I think it could be any time. It could be next chapter or in 5 chapters at this point. But still, good chapter. I still enjoyed it, and let's hope that Boku no Hero will just continue on a good course. On that, Boku no Hero will just continue as good for the next year. And thank you very much for tuning in, and enjoy your days. Have a happy new year, and bye. See you. Thank you for tuning.